Secret societies, hidden orders, ancient mysteries, and the quest for power. Introduction: Behind closed doors. Throughout history, rumors of secret societies have captured the human imagination. Whispered meetings behind locked doors. Hidden symbols carved into ancient buildings. Powerful individuals bound by mysterious oaths. Organizations said to influence governments, shape world events, preserve forgotten knowledge, or guard secrets that few are ever allowed to know. Some stories are rooted firmly in documented history. Others have grown into legends through centuries of speculation. Still others exist somewhere in between, where fact, folklore, and conspiracy theories intertwine so closely that separating them becomes remarkably difficult. What exactly is a secret society? Is it simply a private organization with exclusive membership? A fraternity built upon ritual and symbolism? A philosophical order dedicated to personal growth? Or are some groups truly working behind the scenes to shape the course of history? Across civilizations, secret societies have appeared in many forms. Ancient mystery schools welcomed carefully selected initiates into sacred ceremonies. Religious brotherhoods protected their beliefs during times of persecution. Guilds guarded the specialized knowledge of skilled craftsmen. Political organizations met in secrecy to challenge powerful rulers. Others sought hidden wisdom through philosophy, alchemy, mysticism, or esoteric traditions. Some societies became famous. The Freemasons. The Knights Templar. The Rosicrucians. The Bavarian Illuminati. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Skull and Bones. The Bohemian Club. Each has inspired admiration, curiosity, and controversy in equal measure. Some are well documented. Others remain surrounded by mystery. Over time, popular culture has added another layer to the story. Novels, films, and internet speculation have transformed many secret societies into symbols of hidden power and global influence. Stories of hidden treasure. Ancient bloodlines. Lost civilizations. Occult rituals. And secret world governments continue to circulate across books, documentaries, and online discussions. But how much of this is supported by historical evidence? How much comes from misunderstanding? And how much has simply become modern mythology? In this audiobook, we'll explore the fascinating world of secret societies through the lens of history. We'll examine organizations that truly existed, the beliefs they held, the rituals they practiced, the influence they achieved, and the legends that grew around them. Along the way, we'll distinguish documented facts from enduring folklore, recognizing where the historical record ends and speculation begins. Whether viewed as guardians of ancient wisdom, exclusive social clubs, philosophical organizations, or subjects of endless conspiracy theories, secret societies continue to fascinate people around the world. Perhaps that fascination tells us something about ourselves. Humans have always wondered what lies behind closed doors. What knowledge remains hidden? And whether history has been shaped not only by the events we can see, but also by conversations that took place in secret. Part 1: The Origins of Secret Societies. The idea of a secret society may seem mysterious, but the concept is almost as old as civilization itself. Long before modern governments, universities, or scientific institutions existed, small groups of people gathered privately to share knowledge, perform rituals, preserve traditions, and protect ideas that were considered sacred or dangerous. Not every secret society was created to influence politics or accumulate power. Many began for far simpler reasons. Some protected religious beliefs during times of persecution. Others preserved professional skills that were passed from one generation to the next. Still others believed that wisdom could only be fully appreciated after years of study, discipline, and personal transformation. One of the earliest examples can be found in the mystery religions of the ancient Mediterranean world. Unlike public religious ceremonies that anyone could attend, these mystery schools admitted only initiates who underwent special ceremonies and pledged to keep certain teachings private. Among the most famous were the Eleusinian mysteries of ancient Greece. Held near Athens for nearly 2,000 years, these ceremonies honored the goddesses Demeter and Persephone. Initiates believed the rituals offered profound insights into life, death, and the possibility of spiritual renewal. Remarkably, the exact details of these ceremonies remain unknown today. Participants took their vows of secrecy so seriously that almost no first-hand descriptions survived. Historians know the festivals existed through archaeological discoveries and ancient writings, but the central rituals remain one of history's enduring mysteries. In ancient Egypt, priesthoods also maintained specialized knowledge. Temple priests studied astronomy, mathematics, medicine, architecture, and religious ceremonies. While modern popular culture often portrays Egyptian priests as guardians of magical secrets, historians believe much of their knowledge focused on administration, engineering, and maintaining religious traditions rather than hidden supernatural powers. Elsewhere, secrecy often served practical purposes. Craft guilds in medieval Europe carefully guarded trade techniques. Master stonemasons, metalworkers, glassmakers, and other skilled artisans protected the methods that gave them their livelihoods. These organizations used passwords, symbols, and apprenticeships to distinguish trained members from outsiders. Such practices helped preserve quality and maintain professional standards. Many historians believe these medieval stonemason guilds later influenced the development of modern Freemasonry. Secret signs and symbols also played important roles during periods of political oppression. Groups opposing powerful rulers often met privately to avoid imprisonment or execution. Early religious communities sometimes worshipped in secret when their beliefs were forbidden. Revolutionary organizations used coded messages and hidden meeting places to protect their members. In these cases, secrecy was less about mystery and more about survival. As civilizations evolved, another idea began to emerge. Some philosophers believed that knowledge itself should be earned gradually. Rather than revealing every lesson immediately, students advanced through stages of learning. Each level brought greater understanding and new responsibilities. This system of initiation became a defining feature of many later secret societies. Membership was not simply granted. It was earned. The use of symbols became equally important. Simple images could communicate complex ideas. A compass might represent balance. A square could symbolize honesty. A key might suggest hidden knowledge. An eye could represent awareness. These symbols allowed members to recognize one another while also reminding them of shared values. Over time, outsiders often misunderstood these symbolic traditions. What members saw as moral lessons or philosophical teachings, others sometimes interpreted as evidence of hidden agendas. This misunderstanding helped fuel centuries of speculation about secret societies and their true purposes. It's also important to remember that not all organizations labeled secret societies were actually secret. Many had publicly known headquarters, published books, recognized leaders, and charitable activities. Often, only specific ceremonies, passwords, or internal traditions remained private. There is an important distinction between a secret society and a society with private rituals. That distinction is frequently overlooked in popular culture. By the Middle Ages and Renaissance, Europe had become home to numerous organizations built around symbolism, ritual, philosophy, religion, scholarship, or professional identity. Some would fade into history. Others would grow into international organizations that continue to exist today. And a few would become the subjects of some of history's greatest mysteries. In the next chapter, we'll explore perhaps the most famous secret society of all, the Freemasons, and discover why this centuries-old fraternity has inspired both admiration and countless conspiracy theories. Part 2: The Freemasons, History, Symbolism, and Legend. No secret society has attracted more attention, or more speculation, than the Freemasons. For more than 300 years, this international fraternity has inspired admiration, curiosity, suspicion, and countless conspiracy theories. Its symbols appear on historic buildings. Its members have included kings, scientists, military leaders, artists, and presidents. Its rituals remain private. Yet much of its history is remarkably well documented. To understand Freemasonry, it's important to separate its documented origins from the many legends that have grown around it. The story begins with the stonemasons of medieval Europe. These highly skilled craftsmen built castles, cathedrals, bridges, and some of the greatest architectural achievements of the Middle Ages. Because their work required specialized knowledge of mathematics, geometry, and engineering, stonemasons organized themselves into guilds. These guilds protected trade secrets, trained apprentices, and maintained professional standards. Members often traveled from one construction site to another. To identify themselves, they used signs, passwords, and symbols that confirmed their level of training. This practical system eventually inspired something much larger. By the late 16th and early 17th centuries, some lodges began accepting members who were not working stonemasons. These accepted or speculative masons joined not to build buildings, but to explore moral philosophy, personal improvement, and symbolic teachings. Rather than constructing cathedrals from stone, they sought to build character. This marked the birth of modern Freemasonry. A major milestone came in 1717, when 4 lodges in London united to form what is generally recognized as the First Grand Lodge of England. From there, Freemasonry spread rapidly across Europe, North America, and eventually much of the world. Freemasonry organizes its teachings through a series of symbolic degrees. The 3 foundational degrees are Entered Apprentice, Fellow Craft, and Master Mason. Each degree uses allegorical stories, ceremonies, and symbols to encourage virtues such as honesty, integrity, charity, self-discipline, and lifelong learning. Much of the public fascination with Freemasonry comes from its symbols. Perhaps the best known is the square and compasses. To medieval builders, these were practical tools. Within Freemasonry, they also became moral symbols. The square reminds members to act with fairness and integrity. The compasses symbolize self-control and keeping one's actions within proper bounds. Another familiar image is the letter G, often displayed within the square and compasses. Its meaning varies among different Masonic traditions. Some interpret it as representing geometry, reflecting the importance of mathematics in the craft. Others associate it with God, emphasizing the spiritual dimension of the fraternity. One reason so many myths surround Freemasonry is its tradition of private ceremonies. While the organization's charitable work, public buildings, and many historical records are openly available, the initiation rituals themselves are generally reserved for members. This privacy has encouraged generations of outsiders to imagine hidden meanings far beyond what historians have been able to document. Popular culture has added to the mystery. Films, novels, and internet speculation often portray Freemasons as a powerful organization secretly directing world events. Claims have ranged from controlling governments and financial systems to hiding ancient treasures or preserving supernatural knowledge. Despite the popularity of these theories, historians have found no credible evidence supporting the idea of a unified global Masonic conspiracy. Freemasonry is not a single centralized organization. Instead, it consists of numerous independent Grand Lodges operating under their own jurisdictions, each with its own rules and traditions. Another common misconception concerns famous members. Throughout history, many well-known individuals have belonged to Masonic lodges. Among those widely documented are George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Winston Churchill, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. However, membership alone does not imply coordinated political activity. People from many different backgrounds, professions, and political viewpoints have joined the fraternity over the centuries. Freemasonry has also placed a strong emphasis on charity. Many lodges support hospitals, scholarship programs, disaster relief, children's charities, and community projects. These public activities receive far less attention than conspiracy theories, yet they represent a significant part of the organization's documented history. Today, Freemasonry continues to exist in many countries around the world. Its ceremonies remain private, but its broader goals are openly stated, encouraging moral development, fellowship, charitable work, and personal responsibility. Whether viewed as a philosophical fraternity, a social organization, or a fascinating piece of history, Freemasonry demonstrates how privacy, symbolism, and centuries of tradition can easily become the foundation for legends that grow far beyond the historical record. In the next chapter, we'll turn our attention to another legendary order whose dramatic rise and sudden downfall continue to inspire books, films, and endless speculation: the Knights Templar. Part 3: The Knights Templar, Warriors, Bankers, and Legends. Few organizations have inspired more mystery than the Knights Templar. Their white cloaks marked with a red cross are instantly recognizable. Their story includes the Crusades, immense wealth, dramatic arrests, accusations of heresy, and a sudden downfall that continues to fuel speculation more than 700 years later. Unlike many legendary secret societies, the Knights Templar unquestionably existed. Their history is well documented through royal records, papal documents, financial accounts, and contemporary chronicles. Yet alongside these historical facts has grown one of history's richest collections of myths. The order was founded around the year 1119, shortly after the First Crusade. At that time, Christian pilgrims were traveling to Jerusalem in increasing numbers, but the roads were dangerous. Bandits frequently attacked travelers making the long journey through the Holy Land. A small group of knights, led by Hugh de Payens, proposed an unusual mission. They would become both monks and soldiers. Their purpose was to protect pilgrims while living according to religious vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. King Baldwin II of Jerusalem granted them quarters on the Temple Mount, near the site believed by many Christians to have once housed the Temple of Solomon. Because of this location, they became known as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, later shortened to the Knights Templar. Initially, the order was small and relatively poor. Their earliest seal famously showed two knights riding a single horse, symbolizing humility and shared resources. Everything changed in 1129. At the Council of Troyes, the Catholic Church officially recognized the order. Soon afterward, influential church leaders encouraged Christians across Europe to support the Templars through donations of land, money, and property. Their reputation for courage and discipline spread rapidly. Within decades, the order possessed castles, farms, vineyards, ships, and estates across much of Europe and the Middle East. The Templars developed an organizational structure that was remarkably advanced for its time. Each local commandery reported to regional leaders, who in turn answered to the Grand Master. Their network stretched across kingdoms and languages, allowing them to coordinate resources with extraordinary efficiency. Perhaps their most remarkable achievement had little to do with warfare. The Templars created one of Europe's earliest international financial systems. Pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land could deposit money at one Templar house in Europe and receive written documentation allowing them to withdraw equivalent funds elsewhere. This reduced the need to carry large amounts of gold through dangerous territories. In many ways, the system resembled an early form of banking. The order also safeguarded valuables, arranged loans, and managed financial transactions for nobles and monarchs. Their growing wealth, however, would eventually contribute to their downfall. By the early 14th century, political circumstances had changed dramatically. The Crusader states had largely collapsed. The Templars had lost many of their military responsibilities. At the same time, King Philip IV of France faced severe financial problems. He owed substantial debts to the Templars. On Friday, October 13, 1307, a date that some believe contributed to the superstition surrounding Friday the 13th, Philip ordered the arrest of Templars throughout France. Members of the order were accused of heresy, idol worship, blasphemy, and other shocking crimes. Many confessed after being subjected to torture. Modern historians generally regard these confessions as unreliable because they were obtained under extreme coercion. Pope Clement V initially hesitated but eventually dissolved the order in 1312 under intense political pressure. Its last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake in Paris in 1314. According to later legend, as the flames rose around him, de Molay cursed both the king and the pope, summoning them to divine judgment within a year. Remarkably, both men died within the following months. Whether this dramatic curse actually occurred remains uncertain, but the story became one of the enduring legends surrounding the Templars. The order itself disappeared. Its legend did not. Over the centuries, countless theories emerged. Some claimed the Templars discovered hidden treasure beneath the Temple Mount. Others suggested they uncovered sacred relics such as the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. Some believe surviving members escaped to Scotland, preserving their traditions in secret. Others connected them, without historical evidence, to later organizations such as the Freemasons. These stories have inspired novels, films, documentaries, and conspiracy theories, but historians caution that there is little credible evidence supporting most of them. The documented history of the Knights Templar is already extraordinary. A small brotherhood of warrior monks became one of the most powerful organizations in medieval Europe. They pioneered sophisticated financial systems, defended pilgrims, amassed enormous wealth, and then collapsed in one of history's most dramatic political persecutions. Their remarkable rise and sudden destruction created the perfect conditions for myth-making. When an organization vanishes suddenly while leaving behind unanswered questions, the imagination naturally begins filling the gaps. That is exactly what happened with the Knights Templar. In the next chapter, we'll examine another organization whose name has become almost synonymous with hidden power and conspiracy, the Bavarian Illuminati, and discover how a society that existed for less than a decade became one of the world's most enduring legends. Part 4: The Bavarian Illuminati, from Enlightenment Society to Global Legend. Few names have become as deeply woven into modern conspiracy theories as the Illuminati. Today, the word is often used to describe an alleged secret organization said to control governments, financial markets, media, entertainment, and even world events from behind the scenes. Countless books, documentaries, internet discussions, and films portray the Illuminati as an invisible force shaping history. Yet the historical Bavarian Illuminati was a very different organization. Unlike many legendary secret societies, the Bavarian Illuminati genuinely existed. Its founding, membership, and activities are well documented. But the real story is far less dramatic and, in many ways, even more interesting than the myths that followed. The organization was founded on May 1, 1776, in Ingolstadt, Bavaria, by a professor of canon law named Adam Weishaupt. Europe at the time was experiencing the Age of Enlightenment, a period during which philosophers emphasized reason, science, education, and individual liberty over superstition and unquestioned authority. Weishaupt believed that many traditional institutions, including monarchies and religious authorities, held too much influence over intellectual life. He envisioned a society dedicated to promoting critical thinking, education, moral improvement, and rational inquiry. To protect members from political persecution, the organization adopted secrecy. Members used code names, secret correspondence, initiation ceremonies, and a structured system of ranks. These practices were not unusual for organizations operating in politically sensitive environments. Many philosophical and political groups of the era met privately to avoid government scrutiny. The Illuminati also recruited members from existing intellectual circles, including some Freemasons. This later contributed to confusion between the two organizations, although they remained distinct groups with different structures and goals. At its height, the Bavarian Illuminati probably numbered only a few thousand members. Most historians estimate its membership ranged between roughly 1,500 and 2,500 people spread across parts of Germany and neighboring regions. Compared with the global organization imagined in modern conspiracy theories, it was relatively small. The society's existence was also remarkably brief. In the mid-1780s, the Bavarian government became increasingly suspicious of secret organizations. Concerned that private societies might encourage political dissent, the authorities issued a series of decrees banning secret associations. The Illuminati was outlawed. Its documents were seized. Its activities largely came to an end by 1785. Historically speaking, that should have been the end of the story. Instead, it became the beginning of an entirely new legend. The French Revolution erupted only a few years later. As Europe struggled to understand the dramatic political upheaval, some writers searched for hidden explanations. Several authors suggested, without convincing evidence, that the Illuminati had secretly orchestrated the revolution. These claims spread rapidly through books and pamphlets. Although historians generally reject them due to a lack of reliable documentation, the idea captured the public imagination. The pattern would repeat itself many times. Whenever major historical events occurred, someone would suggest that the Illuminati had been secretly responsible. Wars, economic crises, political revolutions, technological changes, even cultural trends. Over the centuries, the organization evolved from a short-lived Enlightenment society into a universal explanation for almost any event that seemed difficult to understand. Popular culture accelerated this transformation. Novels introduced fictional Illuminati plots. Films portrayed mysterious elites manipulating governments. Video games, television series, and internet forums expanded the mythology even further. Today, the word Illuminati often refers less to the historical Bavarian organization than to a broad collection of conspiracy theories involving hidden global control. Historians draw an important distinction between these two ideas. The historical Illuminati existed. Its membership, leadership, and goals have been extensively studied. The alleged modern global Illuminati, however, has not been supported by credible historical evidence. This does not prevent new theories from appearing. One reason the legend remains so powerful is psychological. Humans naturally search for patterns. When faced with complex world events, it can feel more satisfying to imagine a single hidden organization directing everything than to accept that history is often shaped by countless independent decisions, competing interests, accidents, and unforeseen circumstances. A single explanation can seem simpler than a complicated reality. The story of the Bavarian Illuminati reminds us how history and mythology sometimes become intertwined. A real organization existed. Its documented activities lasted less than a decade. Yet the legends surrounding it have endured for more than 2 centuries, growing larger with each generation. In many ways, the Illuminati has become less a historical society and more a modern symbol of humanity's fascination with hidden power. In the next chapter, we'll explore another influential organization whose secrecy inspired both admiration and mystery, the Rosicrucians, and examine their pursuit of philosophy, symbolism, and spiritual enlightenment. Part 5: The Rosicrucians, the Invisible Brotherhood of Wisdom. Unlike the military discipline of the Knights Templar or the political ambitions often associated with the Illuminati, the Rosicrucians became famous for something very different. They were said to be seekers of hidden wisdom. Students of philosophy, alchemy, science, mysticism, and spiritual transformation. Their story is one of the most unusual in the history of secret societies because historians still debate a fundamental question. Did the original Rosicrucian Brotherhood ever truly exist? The mystery began in the early 17th century. Between 1614 and 1616, 3 anonymous books appeared in Germany. These writings became known as the Rosicrucian Manifestos. The first, Fama Fraternitatis, described a mysterious brotherhood founded by a legendary figure named Christian Rosenkreuz. According to the story, Rosenkreuz had traveled throughout the Middle East, studying mathematics, medicine, philosophy, and ancient wisdom before returning to Europe. There, he supposedly established a secret fraternity dedicated to advancing knowledge and improving humanity. The second manifesto, Confessio Fraternitatis, expanded upon these ideals, calling for intellectual and spiritual reform throughout Europe. The third work, The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz, took a very different approach. It presented an elaborate allegorical story filled with symbolism, alchemy, and mystical imagery. Together, these 3 texts sparked enormous curiosity across Europe. Scholars, philosophers, scientists, religious thinkers, and noblemen all wondered whether this mysterious brotherhood actually existed. Letters were written. Books were published. People searched for members. Some even claimed to have encountered Rosicrucians in secret. Yet no one could produce convincing evidence of an organized fraternity matching the descriptions in the manifestos. Many historians believe the original writings were intended as philosophical allegories rather than literal historical accounts. In other words, the Rosicrucian Brotherhood may have been presented as an ideal, a symbolic society devoted to wisdom, rather than a real organization operating behind closed doors. Whether real or symbolic, the ideas spread rapidly. Rosicrucian philosophy emphasized personal transformation, the pursuit of knowledge, scientific curiosity, ethical living, and the belief that humanity could improve through education and self-understanding. These ideas resonated strongly during a period when Europe was experiencing dramatic changes in science, religion, and philosophy. Alchemy also played an important role in Rosicrucian symbolism. Modern audiences often associate alchemy with attempts to turn lead into gold. While some historical alchemists pursued that goal, many viewed alchemy as a symbolic journey of inner transformation. The process of refining metals became a metaphor for refining the human soul. In this interpretation, the gold represented wisdom, virtue, and spiritual enlightenment rather than physical wealth. Another recurring symbol was the rose and the cross. The rose has long represented beauty, unfolding wisdom, and spiritual awakening. The cross symbolizes sacrifice, balance, and the meeting of the physical and spiritual worlds. Combined, they became one of history's most recognizable esoteric emblems. Unlike many secret societies, the Rosicrucians were not primarily associated with political influence or military power. Their focus centered on knowledge, philosophy, and inner development. Over the following centuries, numerous organizations adopted Rosicrucian traditions. Some trace their origins directly to the 17th century manifestos. Others openly acknowledged that they were inspired by the ideals rather than claiming an unbroken historical lineage. Today, several Rosicrucian organizations continue to operate openly in different parts of the world, offering educational materials, philosophical study, and symbolic teachings. The historical connection between these modern groups and the original manifestos remains a subject of scholarly discussion. Popular culture has, once again, added another layer to the story. Rosicrucians have appeared in novels, films, and conspiracy literature as guardians of hidden libraries, ancient artifacts, and forgotten wisdom. While these stories are entertaining, historians emphasize that evidence for such extraordinary claims is limited. The true legacy of Rosicrucianism may be less about secret meetings and hidden treasures than about the enduring human desire to understand ourselves and the universe more deeply. Its writings encouraged readers to question assumptions, seek knowledge, balance science with spirituality, and pursue lifelong learning. Those ideals continue to resonate centuries after the mysterious manifestos first appeared. Whether the original brotherhood ever existed exactly as described may never be known. But the influence of the Rosicrucian idea is undeniable. Sometimes an idea can become just as powerful as an organization. Perhaps even more so. In the next chapter, we'll turn our attention to one of the most influential esoteric organizations of the modern era, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a society whose teachings would shape modern occultism, ceremonial magic, and much of contemporary tarot symbolism. Part 6: The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Magic, Symbolism, and the Western Esoteric Tradition. By the late 19th century, Europe was experiencing a remarkable revival of interest in mysticism, ancient symbolism, and the hidden traditions of the past. Scientific discoveries were transforming society. Industry was changing daily life. Yet many people also sought answers beyond the material world. They turned toward philosophy, comparative religion, alchemy, astrology, Kabbalah, ceremonial ritual, and the study of symbolic systems that had fascinated seekers for centuries. Out of this atmosphere emerged one of the most influential esoteric organizations ever created: the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Founded in London in 1888 by Dr. William Wynne Westcott, Dr. William Robert Woodman, and Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers, the Golden Dawn was unlike many earlier secret societies. Its purpose was not political power or military influence. Instead, it sought to provide a structured system for studying Western esoteric traditions. Members explored a wide range of subjects, including astrology, numerology, sacred geometry, Hermetic philosophy, alchemy, meditation, symbolism, and ceremonial practices. The order also became deeply associated with tarot. Although tarot had already been used for divination and symbolism by earlier writers, the Golden Dawn developed one of the most detailed symbolic systems ever created for the cards. Its members connected each card with astrology, the Hebrew alphabet, the Kabbalistic tree of life, elemental correspondences, and ceremonial teachings. These ideas would later influence many of the tarot decks used around the world today. Perhaps the order's greatest legacy came through two of its members. Arthur Edward Waite, and artist Pamela Colman Smith. Working together in the early 20th century, they produced what became the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. Unlike many earlier decks, which illustrated only the major arcana and court cards in detail, Pamela Colman Smith created fully illustrated scenes for every minor arcana card. This revolutionary approach made the symbolism far more accessible to beginners and transformed tarot reading forever. Today, countless modern decks trace their visual inspiration back to that landmark publication. The Golden Dawn also attracted an extraordinary collection of writers, artists, and scholars. Among its members were the Irish poet William Butler Yeats, later awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature; actress Florence Farr; occult writer Arthur Machen; and, for a time, the controversial magician Aleister Crowley. Not surprisingly, an organization filled with creative, ambitious, and highly intellectual individuals occasionally experienced internal disagreements. Disputes over leadership, teachings, and authority eventually divided the order into competing branches. By the early 20th century, the original Golden Dawn had largely fragmented. Yet its influence continued to grow. Modern ceremonial magic, contemporary tarot symbolism, many systems of Western occult philosophy, and numerous later esoteric organizations all bear the imprint of Golden Dawn teachings. One reason the order continues to fascinate historians is the breadth of its curriculum. Students progress through carefully structured grades. Each level introduces new symbolic concepts while encouraging discipline, ethical reflection, meditation, and personal development. The organization believed that spiritual understanding developed gradually rather than through sudden revelation. Its rituals reflected this philosophy. Ceremonies used elaborate symbolism, dramatic settings, and carefully designed imagery. To outsiders, these rituals often appeared mysterious or even theatrical. To members, they served as symbolic lessons intended to reinforce philosophical ideas through experience rather than lecture alone. Popular culture has sometimes portrayed the Golden Dawn as an organization possessing supernatural powers or hidden magical secrets. Historical evidence presents a more measured picture. Members certainly studied ceremonial practices and esoteric symbolism, but there is no reliable evidence supporting sensational claims of miraculous abilities. The true significance of the Golden Dawn lies in its intellectual legacy. It brought together centuries of symbolic traditions into a remarkably organized system of study. It preserved ideas that might otherwise have faded into obscurity. And it inspired generations of artists, writers, philosophers, and spiritual seekers. In many ways, the Golden Dawn represents a bridge between ancient traditions and the modern world. Its teachings helped shape contemporary understandings of tarot, symbolism, meditation, and Western esotericism. Whether one approaches these subjects as spiritual practices, historical curiosities, or psychological symbols, the order's influence is impossible to ignore. Perhaps that is why the Golden Dawn remains one of history's most studied esoteric societies. Its greatest secret was not political power or hidden treasure. It was the belief that symbols, when carefully studied, could become tools for understanding both the universe and ourselves. In the next chapter, we'll leave Europe behind and explore another famous organization that has inspired decades of speculation, the Secretive Skull and Bones Society at Yale University, whose influential membership has fueled enduring debates about power, privilege, and political influence. Part 7: Skull and Bones, Power, Privilege, and Persistent Mysteries. Among modern secret societies, few names have generated as much fascination as Skull and Bones. Unlike the medieval orders of Europe or the mystical societies of the 19th century, Skull and Bones is rooted in an American university. Its members are students. Its headquarters stand in plain sight. Its existence is openly acknowledged. Yet its private traditions have fueled more than a century of speculation about influence, leadership, and power. The society was founded in 1832 at Yale University by William Huntington Russell and Alphonso Taft, the father of future U.S. President William Howard Taft. Inspired in part by European student societies, Russell sought to create an exclusive organization that emphasized loyalty, lifelong friendship, and leadership. Each year, a small group of Yale seniors is invited to join. The selection process itself has long contributed to the society's mystique. Membership is considered an honor by many students, though not everyone accepts an invitation. Those who do participate become part of a close-knit network that often lasts long after graduation. The Society's headquarters is a windowless stone building on the Yale campus known simply as the Tomb. Its austere architecture has inspired curiosity for generations. Because most meetings take place inside this imposing structure and are closed to outsiders, speculation about what occurs within has flourished. What is actually known? Historical records indicate that Skull and Bones conducts private initiation ceremonies, maintains traditions passed from one generation of members to the next, and encourages strong bonds among its participants. Like many fraternal organizations, its rituals are intended to create a shared sense of identity and commitment. The exact details of those ceremonies remain private, though some former members have described aspects of them over the years. As with many secret societies, the combination of limited public information and imaginative storytelling has encouraged myths to grow. Perhaps the greatest source of attention has been the Society's alumni. Over nearly 2 centuries, Skull and Bones has counted among its members senators, judges, diplomats, business leaders, military officers, and several prominent political figures. Most famously, both President William Howard Taft and President George H.W. Bush were members. His son, President George W. Bush, also joined the Society during his time at Yale. These high-profile connections have led some observers to suggest that Skull and Bones functions as a hidden network of political influence. There is little doubt that membership provides opportunities to form lifelong professional relationships. Networking has always been one of the benefits associated with elite universities and exclusive organizations. Whether those relationships amount to coordinated control over public affairs is another matter. Historians have found no credible evidence that Skull and Bones secretly directs the American government or controls national policy. Its influence appears more closely related to the personal connections that naturally develop among accomplished graduates than to any centralized conspiracy. Another persistent legend involves the Society's symbols. The familiar skull and crossbones emblem, accompanied by the number 322, has inspired countless interpretations. Some researchers have proposed historical connections to ancient Greece. Others suggest references to the year of the Society's founding traditions. Still others argue that the true meaning remains known only to members. No universally accepted explanation exists. Stories surrounding the Society have become increasingly dramatic over time. Books and documentaries have claimed that hidden artifacts, secret documents, or even famous historical relics are stored inside the tomb. One of the most famous legends alleges that members stole the skull of the Apache leader Geronimo and brought it to the Society's headquarters. This claim has been repeated for decades, but definitive historical proof remains elusive, and many historians caution against treating the story as established fact. The persistence of such legends reflects a familiar pattern. When an organization values privacy, outsiders often fill the gaps with speculation. Some stories prove true. Many do not. The mystery itself becomes part of the organization's identity. Unlike revolutionary movements or philosophical brotherhoods, Skull and Bones has never publicly claimed to possess ancient wisdom or spiritual teachings. Its focus appears to be on fellowship, tradition, leadership, and maintaining lifelong relationships among its members. Even so, the combination of exclusivity, influential alumni, and private rituals ensures that curiosity continues. In many respects, Skull and Bones illustrates an important truth about secret societies. Mystery does not always arise from extraordinary activities. Sometimes it grows simply because people dislike unanswered questions. When information is limited, imagination often rushes in to complete the story. Whether viewed as an elite collegiate fraternity, a powerful networking organization, or a symbol of privilege within American society, Skull and Bones remains one of the world's most recognizable secret societies. Its history reminds us that secrecy alone is often enough to create legends that endure for generations. In the next and final chapter, we'll step back from individual organizations to explore why secret societies continue to fascinate us, and why the search for hidden knowledge may reveal as much about human nature as it does about the societies themselves. Why secret societies continue to fascinate us. From the mystery schools of ancient Greece to the medieval Knights Templar. From the symbolic traditions of the Freemasons to the philosophical writings of the Rosicrucians. From the brief existence of the Bavarian Illuminati to the private rituals of Skull and Bones. One theme appears again and again. Human beings have always been fascinated by the unknown. Secret societies occupy a unique place in history because they exist at the intersection of fact and mystery. Some organizations left behind libraries of documents, official records, buildings, letters, and financial accounts. Others left only fragments. A few disappeared so completely that legend eventually overshadowed reality. Where history becomes incomplete, imagination often takes over. That process has repeated itself for centuries. A private ceremony becomes evidence of hidden knowledge. A symbolic image becomes proof of a secret code. A coincidence becomes a conspiracy. Over time, stories grow larger than the organizations that inspired them. This does not mean that secret societies have been unimportant. Many genuinely influenced history. The Knights Templar transformed medieval finance. The Freemasons helped spread Enlightenment ideals and philanthropic traditions. The Golden Dawn shaped modern tarot symbolism and Western esotericism. Rosicrucian philosophy encouraged intellectual curiosity and spiritual exploration. Even the short-lived Bavarian Illuminati reflected the powerful currents of the Enlightenment. Their real achievements are often remarkable enough without adding extraordinary claims. It is also worth remembering that secrecy itself is not unusual. Governments conduct classified meetings. Businesses protect trade secrets. Universities evaluate applicants privately. Families preserve traditions known only to relatives. Many organizations maintain confidential rituals or internal customs without pursuing hidden agendas. Privacy alone does not imply conspiracy. At the same time, history reminds us that genuine conspiracies have existed. Political plots, revolutionary movements, secret diplomatic negotiations, espionage networks. These have all played real roles in shaping world events. The challenge lies in distinguishing documented evidence from speculation. Responsible historians ask difficult questions. What sources support the claim? Who recorded the event? Can it be independently verified? Where does the evidence end? Where does the legend begin? These questions matter because extraordinary stories often become more convincing through repetition, even when reliable evidence is limited. Perhaps the greatest lesson offered by secret societies has little to do with hidden rituals or mysterious symbols. Instead, it concerns the importance of curiosity balanced with critical thinking. Remain open to new ideas. But also ask for evidence. Appreciate symbolism. But distinguish symbolism from historical fact. Enjoy legends. But understand where history and folklore part ways. Ironically, the enduring popularity of secret societies may reveal more about us than about the organizations themselves. Humans naturally seek patterns. We enjoy solving puzzles. We are drawn toward mysteries. The possibility that hidden knowledge exists somewhere beyond ordinary experience has inspired philosophers, scientists, explorers, and storytellers throughout history. That curiosity has driven discovery as often as it has fueled myth. Perhaps that is why these societies continue to capture our imagination. Not because they necessarily control the world, but because they remind us that history is rarely simple. Every generation inherits mysteries. Some are eventually solved. Others remain unanswered. And a few become timeless legends. Whether you view secret societies as historical organizations, philosophical fraternities, cultural curiosities, or the inspiration behind some of history's greatest conspiracy theories, they offer a fascinating window into humanity's enduring search for meaning, knowledge, and belonging. Behind every closed door lies a question. Sometimes the answer is remarkable. Sometimes it is surprisingly ordinary. And sometimes the mystery itself is what keeps the story alive. Thank you for joining this exploration of history's most famous secret societies. May it inspire you to continue asking questions, examining evidence, and appreciating the remarkable stories, both factual and legendary, that have shaped our understanding of the hidden corners of history.